Hey everyone, Grimrita here with a non-reading video. I am going to talk to the internets today about my experience taking a new antidepressant medication and caveats, or just the obvious things to say are this is just one lady's experience, one 60-year-old lady's experience on a new drug. So everyone reacts differently, so don't take what I'm going to say as that if you take this drug, it will happen to you. But in a way, I hope it does, because it's good. So my history with medication in general, I've been on a number of different things. Like even before I was diagnosed with rheumatoid, I was put. So back in the day when I was denied tenure for a bunch of weird reasons, and it was very distressful just to have your job taken away in this kind of unfair way, I was put on an antidepressant that I don't really remember what it was called. And I do remember that you had to be careful how you couldn't just stop taking it. And I did have side effects and it didn't help. Or I did not notice any kind of plus. And they always say it takes a while, but I remember not liking it, and I forget, I've already kind of repressed its name. And in the end, I did kind of go off. I was able to taper off. So I didn't take it for even that long. And so back then, it was almost like I had a certain form of PT, the trauma of the job stuff. It wasn't really, it hadn't morphed into what it has now become, which is, sick of my whole medical history here, but that's okay. So I had that, and then when I moved here, and then in 2014 I got diagnosed with rheumatoid, so actual rheumatoid arthritis, but I have a very mild version of it, I think. I don't have, but there was a point where I was so sore and inflamed that it had that factor was in my bloodstream. So, that's the indication that you have rheumatoid. So inflammatory autoimmune issues. And I've had them on the whole time. And then I've had a lot of normal arthritis too in my back, and mainly the back, for which I would get, the typical things, the injections. And once I got the radicular thing where they burn something off, and that helped for a while. And then you do physical therapy, all that good stuff. And throughout the rheumatoid arthritis, I would be put on drugs that also never helped me that much, because my rheumatoid is very mild. It's almost like, was it just an episode, even though I know that's not how rheumatoid arthritis works. I mean, I think I still had some joint pain, but never to the degree that I needed strong, I hated methotrexate and the Humira, the one you inject, all those things never really seemed to do much for me and were just kind of a pain. I mean, I took them. Sometimes I took them because people would say, well, you don't want to be worse than you are. You're this good because of the medication. And I kind of thought, no, I just don't think I have a very severe case of RA. Maybe they helped a little bit. For a while, I took cumin or turmeric, sort of supplements. But anyway, so in the end, what happened was my RA kind of morphed more into sort of a fibromyalgic type thing. And my my regular doctor said, yeah, the point pain, that sounds like fibro, what you have now. So it kind of morphed away from actual strong RA into a more, the typical fibromyalgia connected to mild energy envelope issues, like not full-blown chronic, the ME, myo, and something, encephalitis. I wasn't like horizontal in my bed for days on end, but I did have less energy than normal people, and it was sort of like, I always, to this day, I'm like, is it an excuse as to why I don't move my body enough, or is it because I have chronic fatigue? And it's probably kind of somewhere in the middle, who knows? And so, and then the new sort of psychological thing that happened was anxiety. So not so much trauma PTSD, but just full-blown, what they call, for lack of a better term, general anxiety disorder. So just feeling extremely anxious for no good reason in your body, just feeling anxious. And the sort of, the way you interface with the world just becomes very tricky, I would say. And things can set you off and you don't have much control over it, and all that stuff that comes with having anxiety. And it leads to social isolation to a certain degree, or just not wanting to be with people very much, which I definitely still have, but I had it more, and not wanting to deal with life fully because of it's just a little bit too much. And so I had that, but it was funny how when I was actually seeing the therapist, he never really pushed me towards drugs. I'm not sure why. Maybe he probably just thought I wasn't that sick or something. I don't know. It's fine. I don't really mind. But so anxiety, and then still the fibro stuff. And so I was talking to my doctor at the end of February, and she said, I have a drug that might work for you, that might be good, and it's because it's an antidepressant, and she sort of, some of the stuff with the anxiety kind of leads to feeling depressed or whatever. It's sort of, it's not exactly full-blown depression, but I don't know. But she said, why not try this drug called Cymbalta, or the generic term is Duloxetine. And I'm like, sure, let's give it a go. And actually, for the fibro, I'm already on gabapentin, which when she put me on that, I was like, oh, a few side effects, but it's fine. And then with that one, I'm like, maybe it's helping. Maybe it's helping me. It's like, I can't tell. But what happened with this one is, and it was just so strange, like the minute I started taking the lower dose, 30 milligrams, I felt so good. And it was like, is this placebo? Like, I looked it up. Can you really feel so much better and normal and healthy and less inclined to run away from people and more inclined to go say hi after like 2 days? To this day, I'm not sure if it was just a placebo thing, and then, so that's when I booked the trip to Germany in August to go to my reunion, because I'm like, yeah, let's go to the reunion. I want to see people. Why not? It's going to be fine. As opposed to, oh, I don't know, it might set my anxiety off, or it might be just too anxiety inducing to go to a party. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Even if it's not that great, it'll be a reason to go to Germany, and it'll probably be fine to see people. Like, I wanted to go. No big deal. It's like not a big deal, as opposed to, this is a big deal. And that was my whole attitude. And this is what basically is. So I was on, and I started taking it February 29th. So I've been on it for about a month. And for 1 week I was on 30 milligrams, and then I went up to 60. And so the euphoria has subsided a litthere is, I can tell I am on something. But it's still, I still think I'm already a lot better than I was before. And when I was under 30, I said this in one video, how it made me realize how not okay I really was, and how dependent I was on all the crutches that I had, including medication. I mean, I still occasionally take the other medication, not very often. I had anxiety medication that I took much more often. Since I've been on this one, I haven't taken any Ativan, whatever it's called, lorazepam. I haven't needed to. And the big thing for me, or one of the big things, is I've stopped drinking, which I didn't drink a lot, but I would have my little glass of wine at night, and it was a crutch, and I liked it. I liked my little glass of wine. One drink, tried to keep it to one. And I have gone off it, and I'm going to stay off, because I know that one of the things about Cymbalta, and you do need to get your liver checked, because it does affect the liver, which is another reason to stop drinking. And there has been no drug has allowed me to be okay with not drinking. So, and this one, I'm like, I don't need it. I can just have something else. I'll just have water. It doesn't, before it's like the idea of not being able to have my glass of wine made me a little depressed, to be honest. And so it's sort of like, okay, what's going on there? And it was more like, crutches. And I was pretty good about never over drinking, never more than one. Because I could tell it wasn't very good even back then, before this drug. But now with this one, it's even worse to drink, I think. I mean, it depends on what website you look at. Some say it's fine, and it's probably not terrible, but I'm definitely going to drink a lot less than I did. And so it's really working for me. There's a part of me that wonders if 30 was enough, and do I feel like worse on 60 than 30? I'm sleeping a lot better, longer, which is a little tough, like when I have to get up early, but in general, my sleep has improved so much. My sleep has improved, my mood has improved, my anxiety is reduced, and my mood is not sort of only good, it's just less volatile and less, like I don't get set off by minor things as much. Things still upset me or annoy me. But I don't feel like a zombie, which some people say. I just feel normal. I feel more neurotypical, and it makes me realize how not neurotypical I was functioning before. Like I would, things that I would do that I remember one thing about the therapist that I had, I would make these lists of in what order to do certain things, which is it brought it for me almost, it wasn't exactly OCD, it was more just a way to calm, and for some reason I needed to write a list of how to, what things to do first, like basic things, take my coat off, put it on the table, or put the computer on, do this, do that. And even he was sort of dismissive or a little bit sort of ridiculing that. And I think now from the vantage point of having been on this medicine for 4 months, I can sort of see how normal people would look on stuff like that as a bit weird. Although he's a therapist and he should know better. He should not be ridiculing a patient's way of coping. But now I sort of understand where he's coming from. Like, why do you need a list telling you to take your coat off? but I still remember how on the other side, yeah, I did. Or it was soothing for me to have that list and to put it in front of me, because I don't know if it's exactly brain fog or what it was, but this sense of being so overwhelmed with everything or confused that you don't know what to do next. And so that having a list would help you with that. And so the way I feel now is more like, you just do it. You don't even think about it. Like you just do that. And that's kind of what he said. You just do it. You don't even think about it. Why are you putting stuff like that that's so basic on a list? And I couldn't verbalize, because it helps me calm down. I don't know. It's just one example of how I sort of see both. I see how I was, and I kind of have, I have empathy for that person, and I will try and always retain that. So that's why I think people who, like us, who have been non-typical and who get better, are kind of like good at sort of explaining it to people who've never had these issues. It is really hard to understand if you haven't gone through it yourself, I think. And so the other thing about Cymbalta or Duloxetine is, one thing when I was doing my research is how many people were saying terrible things, and there's videos of people on. So, and even in this lovely little pamphlet that they give you with this lady who I'm like, has she taken it, or is she about to take it, or is she depressed, or is she post-depressed? She's the model for their little pamphlet. But it does have everything on here, like sleep, how it will affect everything. So one thing that people said is they have weight gain, which I may have gained a little bit of weight, but I don't think I'm eating. I think I'm eating less. I mean, I don't get hangry as much. Like I can go longer without food than before. And my relationship to food has also changed. Even there, it's less of a crutch. It's still like I enjoy it and I love it, but it's not like I sort of have to have my comforts like in the way there was before. It's a little bit more like chill about food. Like good food's good, but it's food, like the over reliance on things that will make you feel better. Does that make sense? Is gone. And then weight change, and then of course, stuff that's not that important. We don't need to get into this one here. And then sleep is much better. And then the big thing for Cymbalta is stopping approach. And that's where you see the videos of people having terrible, terrible trouble tapering off. It really is, you have to be very careful how you taper off of it. Like, I don't think I would go down, even right now, I don't know if I would go straight from 60 to 30. I would probably request a 20 milligrams so that I can experiment with like 40. And maybe even, and if I have the 20s, if I feel bad, take another 20, like go it slowly and have a backup. You have to be very careful, especially if you're working, like, because these people say they can't work when they have such a bad withdrawal, what they call it, withdrawal issues. And see this one, Cymbalta has the little sad face next to it. Actually, not as much as Effexor, apparently. That has a really strong sad face. And so it does make you a little sort of, if I were really anxious, the fact that I have to like not miss a dose would make me very anxious. But now I'm on the drug, I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. It's silly. And of course you do have to be careful, and I don't know how long I'll be on it. And but I just wanted to give people an update on the fact that I would say I've never been on a medication that has worked so well, ever, my whole life. Like, apparently from the get-go. And even now, I still think I feel like I'm still getting used to the higher dose. And I sort of like can tell sometimes that something's going on. But the other thing is, and I haven't even talked about this, my pain is so much better. So much better. Sometimes I still get pain. Like yesterday I had pain because I was like doing a lot with the mouse, like for grading. Like I still get sore. But before that, I was having really bad arthritis pain in my shoulders. Sometimes my back hurts, sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of comes and goes more. But I was in much higher levels of pain all the time before Cymbalta. So that's another big win. So pain reduction, yay. Mood stabilizing, yay. It almost seems like it's the perfect drug for me. And I'm not exactly sad that I had to wait so long to get on it, because I mean I was managing fine. And in a way, I'm kind of glad, because sometimes there's a lot of discussion about giving it to young people, and that's tricky. I'm glad that I'm older, because it doesn't really matter. I mean, if I'm on it for how long. So, because, and I do want to do more research into neuroscience and how these things, I'll maybe link to one video that I kind of like, where they just are talking about how these things react, these chemicals in the brain. It's absolutely fascinating. And what I always wonder is, how did they find this out? Like I guess they test on mice and things. How do they find this stuff out? It's fascinating. And yeah, that's my little update on private stuff. And so in terms of what I was saying in the other video about the reading, it's almost like I have a different relationship to the channel a little bit. Like it's more, I don't know, I think back then it was more of a crutch almost, part of doing the channel because of the not feeling well. Oh, I see another drug that I tried that I hated because it gave me nightmares. Amitriptyline gave me nightmares. I don't like that one at all. But it's still going to be fine. And I think the one that I have uploaded was fine. But I'm wondering, it's almost like, this is what I'm wondering about, that I kind of want to go back to haphazard updating as opposed to the weekly updates. I'm not exactly sure why. It could just be wanting to try something different. And I do have this idea, but I don't think I can really do more in-depth scripted ones like the ones I see on some people's channels, because of it just being a kind of a hobby that I don't script, I just chat. And I like doing it that way. So I guess in a way there's sort of like, oh, I wanted to be like this, but I can't, it's not realistic. So, but the one thing that might change is I might give myself a break from the weekly updates. I'd like your input if you care. I mean, is it helpful to know that there'll be a Grimm video at a certain time, or do you not really pay attention to that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, you know, with my little group of people that are looking at my videos, it probably doesn't matter that much. And the other thing I've always wanted to do and never really been able to is a true reading vlog, where I take you through a couple of days actually reading a book. I'm not sure why I find that so hard. I can do the straight up vlogging. Hi, Lily. Yeah, she's been a naughty girl again. She peed somewhere. But you want to come up? You want to come up? Anyway, so normal vlogging with cats or something is fine, but the actual intertwining of a reading where we give updates on things, I haven't really been ever able to do that, and I kind of would want to, but I don't know, we'll see. And you know, all of this will be like maybe in the summer, so as of the middle of May, I'll be free from teaching. And I have 2 summer trips planned, and yeah, it's all going to be fine. So that's my little update on a really successful new drug. It's helping me a lot, and hooray, 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 hooray. But that's just my experience. It may not be your experience. Tell me if you've had experiences. I know I'm being very open about my drug stuff. Here she is. You want to say hi? No, she doesn't want to say hi. Anyway, I'll talk to you all later. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, tell me your thoughts. Bye.